I finally have it. You know, the Define R4 has been my favorite case for quite a while. It's the one I'm using myself. I know you guys are going to be like, oh, it's your favorite case? You can go get like a custom-made $450 one. This is, you know, around 100 to 110 bucks. The Define series is a step up from the Core series, and the lines on this case look really clean. The build quality is really nice, and they've kept the aesthetic of the R4. They've kept the minimal, just clean design. They've kept the attention to detail, and like I said, they've kept the price about the same. So here it is, the Define R5. First off, the dimensions, it's 232 by 451 by 521. That's in millimeters. With the feet here on the bottom, it adds a little bit extra. It makes it 462 tall. The feet are like, not plastic, but they have like a chrome sheen to them, so they're a little bit shiny. The weight on this is 10.2 kilograms. On the top, we have their new Moduvent system. That's, I guess, the thing that they've come up with. Now, the Moduvent system, it's toolless. It's very easy to remove. You just, go on the inside, push a couple pegs, and then each individual Moduvent can be removed if you wanted to put a fan in there. There's foam on the inside. So when you take them off, there's a Moduvent logo on the other side. I don't know why it's there. I mean, I feel like you could just put foam over the entire thing and be just fine. The logo's on the inside. It just seems a little weird, but whatever. They can do whatever they want. There's also foam on every side panel. These side panels, they are extremely sturdy. And on this side panel over on that side over there, there is also a spot where you can mount a 120 or a 140 millimeter fan, and that also has a Moduvent on it. Okay, let's take a look at the front. It's extremely sleek. When you open up the door there, you can see the foam on the inside. It's very easy to remove. Dust filter here in the front, and beneath that we have our spots where you can put a couple of 140s or a couple of 120 millimeter fans. And the fans that they've included on this, you got one 140 in the front and one 140 in the back. Now these fans have been designed for silence. Just the shape of the blades themselves, they've designed that for silence. Max RPM on these is 1,000, and one other thing they've done is you'll see some little notches, almost like little grooves or teeth on the back of them that have been cut. And that's designed to allow the air to slip through those areas instead of, planing off and making noise. Let's talk about water cooling options, because you can install a ridiculous amount of water cooling options. First off, in the top, a 120, a 140, a 240, a 280, a 360, and even a 420 will fit on the top. You'll have to remove all the Moduvents on the top in order to fit those on there, but hey, you can do it. In the back, you've got room for the, the 140 and the 120. It's another one. In the front here, you can do a 360, a 240, 280 actually, 140, and a 120. And in order to do that, you'll have to remove, some of the hard drive cages and that sort of thing. But you can do that, and you can get by just fine. And now, on the bottom, if you remove the bottom hard drive cage, you can mount a 240, a 140, and then you can even mount a 120 with the hard drive cages installed. On the top, you've got 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2.0, and then we also have headphone, microphone, and a little reset button, plus power button and all that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you take off the side panel, the thumb screws are removable on the back, and then there's a little lever here you have to press. You press this lever, and that releases the door so that you can take the side panel off. Now, you can, if you wanted to, you could just leave it on there without the thumb screws in there. I usually like to screw it down, but if you're always messing around with things, just leave the thumb screws off and use this. Once you get on the inside, you'll see the hard drive cages and also the 5 1/4 tray up on top. You can remove all of those things, and they come off very easily with just some thumb screws. Now, I want to mention that the thumb screws here on the hard drive, trays or cages or whatever, not trays, cages, are the retention kind, so they won't fall out, which is really handy. It's okay if you lose the ones on the back. You've got this, right? But you don't want to lose the ones for the hard drive cages. Normally, you'd have to stack these things, but this one, it does it a little different. They've put the screws here on the side, and they actually screw into the case and slide in on the top and on the bottom. But you can take out the bottom hard drive cage, leave the top one in, and have room for a radiator on the bottom. Very interesting way to do things. Now, here's the trays. I really like the trays that they use. 5 in the top cage and 3 in the bottom. And these are metal. I like the way they feel a lot. As you can see, you can mount standard 2.5 and 3.5 inch drives right in there. But yeah, these are just really freaking tough. You don't see components this nice in a case of this price range usually. All right, on the bottom of the case, you can see that we have vents all the way across the bottom. The power supply goes in the back, and there are some little rubber feet there for it. I want to note that the rubber feet were kind of sloppily installed, and they look like they could come off easily. They're just like stickers, you know, like one side is a sticker, the other side's a little rubber feet. But it does elevate the power supply a little bit, help to dampen the sound, and also give you decent airflow, even though the bottom of the case is elevated. So, you know, that's maybe one of the one gripes I have with the construction is whoever slapped those on there just like was chewing gum and just like slapping them on there. So it's whatever, it works. But these might come off easily if you wiggle them around too much. All of the spots where you can mount your fans and radiators have a slotted screw mount instead of just the standard holes. That allows you to move the radiator around to the perfect spot and then screw it down there instead of being regulated to wherever they've decided to put the holes. Take a look at our motherboard tray area. It's inset. It fits ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of room for XL ATX or anything like that because of the way the motherboard tray area is kind of recessed a little bit. This is a nice wide case, mind you. In the center there is already a standoff installed, but it's just a standoff to align your motherboard. I find this really handy and I really like it. The cutout behind the motherboard for the CPU, like cooler installation, is huge. Like really freaking huge. You should be able to mount just about any cooling unit on there without any problems at all. All the way around the motherboard area we have grommeted areas. There's not a lot of extra room down here on the bottom to store your cables, but there is behind the motherboard tray. Looking at the back here, we have 7 expansion card slots, of course, and a couple honeycomb grills, but there is no dust filter on this as well. So it shouldn't be a big deal because most of the air is going to be going out the back, but you know, there it is. The other side panel here, you can see this thick foam. It's really, really tough, but they also have retention thumb screws here. Now in the back, we have 2 sort of stealth trays here for mounting SSDs. Now as far as cable routing goes, this is nice. This is really nice. We have some channels here and even some Velcro tie downs. So, I mean, you've got other little spots where you can, you know, tie down cables, but the Velcro is so nice. Fractal, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna really enjoy building in this case. But these channels are like, you know, as the motherboard is recessed here, just beyond, or, you know, on the other side of that, some nice channels to route your cables. And down here in the bottom, where the power supply goes, you have a ton of room, an absurd amount of room. Between 20 and 35 millimeters of space back here. You should be able to fit most of your cables, especially if you're going with a semi-modular or a modular you know, power supply. You can fit a lot of stuff back here behind the motherboard tray. Nice build quality all around. Rolled edges on stuff. You know, I'm like looking for stuff to complain about on this. You know, almost everywhere that you can mount a fan, it has the slotted screw holes instead of the regular ones. Slotted screw holes here, slotted screw holes on the top. I mean, it's just going to give you like almost an infinite number of possibilities here, just with what you can do with this case. Giant, cavernous, decent airflow. The only thing that could be cooler was, I mean, I've seen some of the, you know, the compartmentalization with the NZXT cases. I do like the way that looks. It's nice and clean. And I guess it may also help keep some of the power supply heat down there in the power supply. But at this price range, that's not going to be a complaint. Yeah, I can't really think of any other major complaints. As far as your dust covers, like I said, you have one in the front, and then there's also a full-sized, huge dust cover on the bottom. So for me, it's like the perfect case because it's extremely silent, the price is right, the aesthetic is right. There's no nonsense, no silly, you know, hey, this is my first system, look at all my light show. It's none of that nonsense. It's just clean, and it does its job. Other thing I want to note is there is a fan controller on this, and that's in the front. You can hook up to 3 fans, and it's got 3 steps for high, medium, and low. So you really customize it for, you know, whatever you like. If your motherboard has that built in, just go ahead and use your motherboard, but it's nice to have it on board in case your motherboard does not. So there you have it, the Fractal Design Define R5. I quite enjoy this case. And stay tuned. I'll be doing a build with this very soon. X99 all the way, a couple of 980s in here. Who knows what else? It's going to be my system, man. You know? Alright, see you guys later. On the back side of these, where the foam would go, the only way you're gonna... Shut the f*** up, man. I'm trying to do a thing about silence. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to... For f***'s sake, my ride's ready downstairs. Which is good. Oh, no. Hey, man. So very intelligent design there. Like Charles Darwin in the house.